Welcome to Zoe Stories. My wife helped me discover myself. I used to think crossdressing was something I would only read about in stories or see in videos online. Something other people did. Something far away from my own life. I never imagined it could, or would, become my reality. And yet, here I was, standing in our bedroom, staring at the delicate piece of lace in my wife's hands.
It was just a bra.
A simple, red-embroidered bra, soft to the touch, padded and beautiful. And yet, in that moment, it felt like it carried some kind of forbidden power. My heart was hammering, my palms slightly sweaty, and I couldn't tell if it was from nervousness, curiosity, or something deeper that I didn't want to admit. "Can you help me stretch this out?" my wife asked, holding it up with a mischievous smile. Her tone was playful, teasing, but there was an undercurrent of something that made my stomach twist. I blinked, completely frozen. You want me to wear it?" I managed, my voice barely above a whisper. "Just try it on. I want to see how it fits when it's stretched a little," she said, tilting her head, that smile dancing on her lips. There was no mockery in her eyes. Only encouragement. Only trust. I swallowed hard. My mind was spinning in 1,000 directions. The idea seemed absurd, ridiculous even. But something inside me stirred, an excitement I couldn't deny. I hesitated, glancing down at the bra, as if it might bite me. But then, slowly, I reached for it. When I slipped my arms through the straps, the fabric was softer than I had expected, almost silky. The padded cups pressed against my chest, molding perfectly over my form. I felt a strange, thrilling pressure where my body met the fabric, a sensation both foreign and intimate. My shirt was draped over me, and as I looked down, I saw two gentle curves pressing against the cloth. Two soft mounds where my chest had never been pronounced before. I froze. I couldn't believe what I was feeling. Shock raced through me, a mix of fear and something else. Something that made my heart skip, made my stomach tighten, made my mind buzz with an energy I hadn't felt before. Wow. I breathed, almost inaudible. It feels weird. My wife laughed softly, walking closer. She reached out to adjust the straps, her fingers brushing lightly against my shoulders. I shivered at the touch. "See," she said gently. "It fits. Doesn't it feel nice?" I didn't respond at first. I was trying to process the flood of sensations, the dizzying mix of emotions. There was embarrassment, yes. There was nervousness. But beneath it all, there was a strange, undeniable thrill. The fabric hugging my chest, the soft pressure, the warmth, it was intoxicating in a way I couldn't explain. "It looks pretty obvious," I murmured, my voice trembling slightly. "Won't people notice?" "Let's test it," she said, her smile reassuring. "Try a darker shirt." I swapped to a black sweater she handed me, tugging it over my head with trembling fingers. As the fabric settled, I noticed that the red lace of the bra was barely visible. The outline softened, almost disappearing entirely under the cloth. My heart slowed slightly. Maybe this wasn't as impossible to hide as I had feared. "See," she said, beaming. "No one will notice." I nodded, my mind spinning. I still couldn't believe what I was doing, what I was wearing, but her confidence was infectious. It made me feel safe, seen, and strangely empowered. "Let's go for a walk," she suggested, her eyes glinting with playful mischief. I nearly fainted. "Go out like this?" My chest pressed against the bra, hidden under the sweater, and yet somehow fully present. My body felt alive in a new, almost shocking way. But I trusted her. I wanted to see, to feel, to explore this strange, exhilarating new reality. We stepped outside, the cool breeze brushing my face. Every step I took made me hyper-aware of my chest, of the subtle sway beneath the sweater. I caught glimpses of my reflection in shop windows, my own eyes widening with surprise and something else, something I couldn't name. Excitement, curiosity, a thrill that made my stomach flutter. My wife walked beside me, calm, confident, her hand brushing against mine occasionally. The normalcy of her presence grounded me, gave me courage to continue. And yet, The sensation of the bra, the way it pressed gently against me, made me acutely aware of every movement. My shoulders tensed instinctively, trying to hide the soft curves, but that only made the straps press more firmly against my skin. Every step was a dance of discovery. People passed us on the street, oblivious. And yet, I felt exposed in a way I had never felt before. Exposed, but not ashamed. Not yet. There was something liberating about it, something intoxicating. "Do you feel it?" my wife whispered, leaning close. "Do you feel how it hugs you?" I nodded, breathless. "Yeah, it feels strange, but good." Her eyes softened. "You're more you than you've ever been," she said gently. "Sometimes, the parts of ourselves we hide are the parts that make us whole." I didn't know what to say. I just nodded, letting the words sink in. It was a revelation I hadn't expected. A small bra, a simple act, and yet it had opened a door I hadn't known existed. We walked back home, and with each step, the fear began to ebb slightly, replaced by curiosity. Maybe this wasn't just a one-time experiment. Maybe it was the start of something new, something transformative. When we returned to the apartment, I stood in front of the mirror. The sweater hid the bra, but I could feel it, pressing gently, reminding me of the thrill, of the secret I now carried. My chest felt tender, alive, and I caught myself brushing my hands over the soft curves, as if seeking reassurance that it was real. "It's just the beginning," my wife said, watching me closely. "If you want to explore, I'll be here. Every step." Her words were simple, yet they carried a weight I hadn't expected. Permission, encouragement, love. I felt a warmth spreading through my chest that had nothing to do with the bra. A connection. A trust. A thrill that was both terrifying and exhilarating. That night, I lay in bed, the red bra tucked carefully in my drawer. I couldn't stop thinking about it, about how it had felt, how it had awakened something within me I hadn't known existed. Something soft, curious, alive. I realized then that this was more than just wearing a piece of clothing. It was a doorway into a new side of myself, a side I hadn't dared explore. And somehow, with my wife by my side, it felt safe, exciting, inevitable. As sleep finally claimed me, my last thoughts were tinged with anticipation. Tomorrow, I would take another step. And for the first time in my life, I was eager to see what that step would be. The next morning, I woke with a strange mix of excitement and nerves. The red bra I had tried on the day before was still vivid in my mind, pressing gently against my chest in memory, teasing me with the thrill of the forbidden. I couldn't stop thinking about how it had felt, soft, intimate, alive in a way I hadn't imagined possible. I stretched lazily in bed, feeling my body in ways I had never noticed before. There was a new awareness, a quiet curiosity that had taken root overnight. My wife was still asleep, curled on her side, soft morning light casting gentle shadows across her face. Watching her, I realized how natural, how effortless it all seemed to her. This playful, supportive side of her that encouraged me to explore, to be myself in ways I hadn't even considered. I slipped out of bed quietly, careful not to wake her. My eyes fell on the drawer where she had placed the bra last night. I opened it slowly, my hand trembling slightly, and there it was, the red lace, pristine, waiting. I picked it up, feeling the soft fabric between my fingers. My heartbeat quickened, my stomach fluttered. I hesitated, then slowly lifted it, my mind racing with 1,000 what-ifs. What if I really did this? What if I, liked it more than I expected? I took a deep breath and slipped my arms through the straps once again. This time, there was no hesitation, only a growing thrill. The bra hugged my chest, pressing gently, softly, as if it belonged there. I looked down, amazed at the curves it created. They were subtle, delicate, and yet striking in their own way. I pressed my hands lightly over them, feeling the soft contour, the unfamiliar yet oddly comforting weight. "You're enjoying this," I whispered to myself, almost startled by the confession. And in that quiet moment, the idea came. If wearing a bra could feel this good, What else might feel, right? I remembered the skirts and nightgowns she had joked about before. She'd mentioned them almost casually, laughing at the thought of me sneaking into her wardrobe. At the time, it had seemed absurd, impossible even. But now, the possibility felt electrifying. I could picture myself wrapped in soft fabric, moving lightly, free in a way I had never experienced. By mid-morning, the apartment was quiet, and I found myself sneaking into her closet. My hands trembled as I ran along the hangers, brushing past floral skirts, flowing dresses, and silky nightgowns. My fingers lingered on a pale blue skirt, soft and lightweight. I picked it up, feeling the fabric slip through my fingers like water. A thrill of fear mingled with excitement washed over me. I couldn't resist. I slipped out of my pajamas and into the skirt, letting the fabric brush against my legs. The sensation was immediate.
Light, airy,
Comfortable in a way that surprised me. My chest pressed gently against the bra, my stomach fluttering as I adjusted the waistband. I looked in the mirror, hesitant at first, and then slowly, I began to see me. Not the me I had been yesterday, stiff and uncertain, but a softer, freer version of myself. One that didn't hide from curiosity, from pleasure, from sensation. The skirt swayed lightly as I shifted my weight, a simple movement, yet it felt like a revelation. I laughed quietly, startled by my own reaction. It felt silly, absurd even, but wonderful. I twirled a little in front of the mirror, feeling the fabric spin around me, brushing my legs. My chest felt alive, my body aware in ways I had never experienced. The thrill of secrecy, the intimate joy of exploration, made my heart pound with excitement. And then, of course, I heard her footsteps. My wife, watching me quietly from the doorway, eyes sparkling with mischief. "Well," she asked softly, "how does it feel?" I froze, heat rushing to my face.
I
don't know," I admitted, my voice barely a whisper. "It feels good." She laughed, stepping closer, placing her hand lightly on my shoulder. "Good," she teased. "It looks amazing. Don't hide it." Her words were encouragement, yes, but also permission. A green light that made my heart swell. I hadn't realized how much I had wanted this acceptance, this freedom to explore without shame. "Try a nightgown," she suggested, her tone playful but firm. "It's hot today, and it's more comfortable than anything else." I hesitated for a moment. A nightgown? The idea seemed absurd, but there was a spark of daring in me now. A curiosity I couldn't resist. I chose a soft, cream-colored nightgown, the fabric cool and smooth against my skin as I slipped it on over the bra. The sensation was intoxicating. Light, gentle, freeing. My body felt different.
alive.
Open. "You look beautiful," she said, her voice almost reverent. My face burned. I felt exposed, yet strangely empowered. The morning passed in a haze of experimentation. I tried different skirts, mixed and matched fabrics, exploring textures, colors, sensations. Each new outfit was a revelation. The world felt sharper, brighter, more immediate. I laughed at myself, twirled, posed in front of mirrors, my body reacting in ways I hadn't known it could. By the afternoon, I had completely lost track of time. I was no longer my old self, stiff and uncertain. I was someone new, someone soft, playful, aware, alive. And all of it was guided by my wife's gentle encouragement. She watched me, smiled at me, sometimes adjusted a strap or smoothed a wrinkle. Her presence made everything safe, even thrilling. We experimented with accessories too, scarves, soft slippers, even a pair of her old ballet flats. The tiny click of the heels on the hardwood floor made me giggle nervously. "I feel ridiculous," I admitted, twirling with exaggerated grace. "You look amazing," she said, laughing. "Not ridiculous at all. Don't hide this side of yourself." And for the first time, I realized I didn't want to hide it. Not from her, not from myself. That evening, as we sat together in the living room, I lingered in a skirt and the soft nightgown. She sipped her tea, smiling at me, her eyes bright and full of warmth. I caught my reflection in the glass door of the cabinet and almost didn't recognize myself. Soft curves, delicate fabric, a body moving freely in ways it hadn't before. I felt happy.
Free. Seen.
It wasn't just clothing. It was discovery, acceptance, transformation. Later, as we prepared dinner, she handed me one of her older skirts, teasing, "Here, wear this. You'll be cooler than your old pants." I laughed nervously but obeyed. The fabric was light, swaying around my legs as I chopped vegetables. I felt a strange combination of vulnerability and thrill. My hands trembled slightly, aware of the skirt, aware of my chest, aware of every subtle sensation. "Looks perfect," she whispered, leaning close. "You're perfect." That word, perfect, echoed in my mind. I had never felt it directed at me in this way. Not just my body, not just my appearance, but me. The soft, curious, playful, alive me. As night fell, we cuddled on the sofa. I wore the skirt and nightgown combination, feeling her warmth pressed against me. She traced circles along my arm, whispered soft encouragements, and in that quiet intimacy, I felt completely at home in my own skin, something I had never imagined possible before that first bra. By the time I went to bed, I had fully embraced the idea that cross-dressing wasn't a one-off experiment. It was something I could explore, something that felt right, something that made me feel whole. And deep down, I knew tomorrow would bring another experiment, another chance to explore, to play, to discover. And for the first time in my life, I couldn't wait. The morning light streamed through the curtains, casting a warm glow over our small apartment. I sat on the edge of the bed, the red bra still hugging my chest beneath a soft sweater, a lightweight skirt swaying gently around my legs. My heart raced in anticipation, a mix of excitement and sheer terror. Today was the day. Today, I was going outside wearing this version of myself. My wife noticed my hesitation immediately. She leaned against the doorframe, hands crossed over her chest, smiling with that same mischievous glint that had gotten me into this situation in the first place. "You're ready," she said simply. I swallowed hard. "Are you sure about this? What if someone sees?" Her eyes softened, full of encouragement. "If anyone notices, it won't matter. And honestly, I think you'll feel amazing. Just trust me." I nodded, my stomach fluttering with nervous anticipation. I could feel every curve beneath the sweater, the bra pressing softly against me, the skirt brushing my thighs with every small movement. I tugged lightly at the hem, trying to steady my shaking hands. The door clicked shut behind us as we stepped into the hallway. Each step echoed in the quiet building, a drumbeat of nervousness in my chest. My wife linked her arm with mine, her warmth steadying me as we descended the stairs. We reached the street, and the sunlight hit me full force. I scanned the area, heart pounding. People passed by, oblivious to my inner turmoil. My skirt swayed lightly with each step, a soft rhythm that made my stomach tighten. "Just breathe," my wife whispered, squeezing my arm. "No one is paying attention to you. I promise." I nodded again, forcing myself to take slow, deliberate breaths. And then we started walking. Every step was a revelation. The gentle sway of the skirt, the subtle pressure of the bra beneath my sweater, the soft touch of the fabric against my thighs, it all combined to create a sensation I couldn't describe. Thrilling,
Terrifying.
exhilarating. We passed a small cafe, and I caught my reflection in the window. My breath caught. The soft curves of my chest peaked just slightly beneath the sweater. My skirt moved lightly with the breeze. For a brief moment, I felt exposed, vulnerable, but also alive. My wife smiled, watching my reaction. "See," she said gently, "you're doing great. You look natural." Natural. The word echoed in my mind. Could this really be me? Could I really step into the world like this and feel okay? We walked a few blocks, stopping at a small corner store. I tried to act casual, but every movement made me acutely aware of the bra, the sweater, the skirt. My shoulders tensed instinctively, But then I remembered my wife's words. Relax. Just be yourself. Inside the store, I kept my hands lightly folded in front of me, the gentle sway of the skirt reminding me of every step I took. My wife walked beside me, chatting softly with the clerk, her presence a buffer against my nerves. I stole glances at myself in the reflective surfaces, the glass counter, the shiny shelves, and each time, my heart skipped a beat. A man walked past, brushing against the edge of my arm. My body tensed, a flush rising to my cheeks. And yet, I noticed the subtle thrill, the feeling of being seen, of stepping into a role that was both foreign and intoxicating. See, my wife whispered, leaning close. You're fine. You're amazing. Her encouragement was like a shield. I began to walk taller, my shoulders slightly back, testing the confidence that was slowly building within me. I could feel the gentle pressure of the bra against my chest, the soft sway of the skirt, and a warmth spread through me that had nothing to do with embarrassment. By the time we left the store, I realized something startling. I was enjoying it. Not just the thrill of secrecy, but the sensation of stepping out into the world in this new, softer version of myself. There was freedom here, a liberation I hadn't anticipated. We walked back toward the apartment, passing familiar streets that now seemed different. The world was sharper, brighter, filled with new possibilities. My mind raced with thoughts of what I could explore next, the skirts, the nightgowns, the tiny experiments at home that had led me here. You did it, my wife said, squeezing my hand as we climbed the stairs. You went out, and you looked amazing. How does it feel? I exhaled, a mixture of relief and exhilaration. It feels right, I admitted softly. Scary, but right. She smiled, brushing a loose strand of hair from my face.
Exactly.
That's the feeling you're chasing. That's the side of yourself you've been hiding. For the first time, I realized she was right. The thrill, the fear, the excitement. It was all part of discovering something deeper about myself. Something that had been there all along, waiting for the right moment to surface. That night, back in the privacy of our apartment, I reflected on the day. The fear, the embarrassment, the thrill, they all mingled into something intoxicating. I had stepped out of my comfort zone, embraced a new side of myself, and survived. More than that, I had thrived. I looked down at the bra beneath my sweater, the skirt draped lightly around my legs. It was more than just clothing now. It was a symbol of discovery, of courage, of transformation. And I knew, deep down, that this was only the beginning. The first public step had been terrifying, exhilarating, and liberating. And tomorrow, I would take another step. The first few days after our little adventure outside were transformative in ways I hadn't anticipated. At home, the walls of our apartment suddenly seemed like a playground, a safe space where I could experiment, explore, and fully inhabit the softer, freer version of myself. My wife seemed to sense the curiosity bubbling inside me. She didn't push, didn't demand, but she offered gentle nudges, playful suggestions, and an open door to a world I never knew I could belong to. Try this one today, she said one afternoon, handing me a light floral skirt as I was helping her organize the kitchen. The fabric was soft, flowing, almost whispering against my skin as I slid it on. I hesitated for a moment, feeling the familiar flutter of nerves, but then, as I moved, I realized how comfortable it was. The air brushed against my legs, the fabric swaying lightly with each motion, and I felt a subtle but undeniable thrill. You like it, don't you? She asked, noticing the way my fingers lingered over the waistband, the little smile tugging at my lips. I think so, I admitted, feeling a blush rise to my cheeks. The word felt inadequate, but it was all I could manage. She laughed softly, reaching out to smooth a wrinkle in the skirt. It looks amazing on you. And the best part? You don't have to hide it here. Not from me. Not from anyone in this apartment. Her words struck a chord deep inside me. There was no judgment, no mockery, only acceptance, encouragement, and love. For the first time, I realized that my curiosity wasn't something to be ashamed of. It was something to explore, something to cherish, something that could make me feel more like myself than ever before. That afternoon, I tried on several of her older skirts and nightgowns, experimenting with textures, lengths, and colors. There was a soft pink skirt that made me feel delicate and graceful, a silky nightgown that clung gently to my form and made my skin tingle with the sensation of smooth fabric. Every piece was a revelation. Each outfit felt like a new identity I could step into, a new aspect of myself I could discover. My wife watched quietly, occasionally offering advice or gentle adjustments. "That one looks perfect with your shoulders back," she said at one point, helping me adjust the straps of a dress.
"See?
"You're learning how to carry yourself in these clothes. It's part of the experience." I nodded, absorbing her words. Carrying myself in these skirts and nightgowns was an unfamiliar skill, something that required attention and awareness. Each step, each gesture, felt deliberate. And yet, as I moved, I began to feel an unusual freedom, light, airy, unburdened. Sometimes, I caught myself laughing at how natural it all felt. Other times, I would pause in front of the mirror, staring at my reflection in awe. The bra beneath the skirts or nightgowns created gentle curves, soft contours that I had never seen on myself before. My chest rose and fell subtly, the fabric pressing gently against me. I felt exposed, yet safe. Vulnerable, yet powerful. Alive, in ways I had never imagined. One afternoon, as I was arranging some dishes in the kitchen, my wife brought over a soft, pastel-colored nightgown. "It's hot today," she said with a smile. "Why not wear this instead of your usual clothes? You'll be cooler and more comfortable." I hesitated, then accepted it. The moment I slipped it over my head, the fabric hugged my body softly, sliding over my skin with a gentle caress. My chest pressed lightly against the bra beneath it, the sensation sending a subtle shiver down my spine. I twirled slightly, testing the movement, feeling the light fabric sway around my legs. "You look perfect," my wife whispered, her eyes sparkling. The word made my cheeks flush. "Perfect?"
Me?
"Yes," she added, leaning close. "I love seeing this side of you."
Soft. Free. Alive.
Her approval was intoxicating. It wasn't just that I felt beautiful in these clothes. It was that I felt accepted, loved, and encouraged to explore a side of myself I had never allowed to exist. The more I experimented at home, the more natural it became. Wearing skirts while cooking, nightgowns while reading or lounging, even trying out her old sweaters and leggings in combination with my outfits, it all became part of a private ritual, a daily expression of freedom and discovery. Some days, we would sit together on the couch, me in a soft skirt and her in her own comfortable clothes, sipping tea and laughing. She would sometimes adjust my outfits playfully, smoothing wrinkles, tugging gently at straps, or guiding me to move in a certain way. Each interaction was intimate, a dance of trust, encouragement, and shared joy. Other times, the exploration was quieter. I would slip into a nightgown after dinner, wandering through the apartment in soft slippers, feeling the fabric glide over my skin. The swish of the skirt, the gentle sway of the nightgown, the subtle pressure of the bra, it all became a comforting rhythm, a tactile reminder that this was my space, my body, my exploration. One evening, as we prepared for bed, my wife handed me one of her older nightgowns with a mischievous smile. "Tonight," she said, "we don't need to think of ourselves as husband and wife. Let's just be two people enjoying this moment. You, and your softer side." I shivered, heart racing, as I slipped it on. The fabric was cool against my skin, soft and smooth, embracing me in a way that felt simultaneously liberating and intimate. My wife joined me on the bed, and we curled together, her hand tracing light patterns on my arm, whispering encouragements and teasing remarks. In those moments, I realized something profound. Crossdressing wasn't about hiding, pretending, or shame. It was about honesty, about exploring facets of myself that had been buried, ignored, or suppressed, about embracing vulnerability, intimacy, and joy in unexpected forms. Skirts became my home clothes. Nightgowns became my pajamas. The soft embrace of fabric against my skin became a ritual, a way to center myself, to feel alive, to experience freedom and self-expression in its purest form. Sometimes, I caught myself laughing at the absurdity of it all, how a simple piece of clothing, a soft skirt or delicate nightgown, could transform my perception of myself so completely. But then I would look at my reflection, feel the gentle press of the bra, the swish of the skirt, the smooth slide of nightgown fabric, and I knew it wasn't absurd. It was me. And in that acceptance, in that playful, safe exploration, I discovered a truth I had never anticipated, that crossdressing wasn't a deviation or a secret to be ashamed of. It was a pathway to discovering who I truly was, soft, curious, alive, and free. By the end of the week, our apartment had become a haven. A space where clothes weren't just clothing, they were tools of self-discovery. A skirt wasn't just a skirt, a nightgown wasn't just a nightgown. Each piece carried possibility, a new side of myself waiting to be explored. And through it all, my wife was there, guiding, supporting, laughing, teasing, loving. She made every experiment safe, every discovery joyful, every step of the journey exciting. For the first time in my life, I felt completely at home in my own skin, not in the way I had been taught, not in the rigid constructs of masculinity or societal expectations, but in a way that was entirely, authentically me. That evening, as I drifted off to sleep in a soft nightgown, I realized something. This was no longer just an experiment. This was a lifestyle, a journey, a playful, intimate, transformative path that I was eager to continue walking. And I knew, deep down, that tomorrow would bring more discoveries, more thrills, more moments of vulnerability, and that I wouldn't trade a single second of it for anything in the world. It was a sweltering summer afternoon, the kind of heat that made every step feel heavy and every breath a little slower. I had just finished slipping into a soft floral skirt and one of my wife's lightweight tank tops, feeling the breeze brush against my legs and the gentle hug of the bra beneath the shirt. Comfort and freedom mixed with a twinge of nervousness. I never quite knew how these experiments might unfold, even in the privacy of our apartment. I was in the kitchen, attempting to help my wife cook. The smell of fresh vegetables, the sizzling of oil in the pan, and the soft hum of the fan filled the room. I was carefully chopping carrots when my clumsy hand betrayed me. A bright orange splash of soup landed on the skirt I was wearing, soaking the delicate fabric almost immediately. "Oh no!" I exclaimed, my voice a mixture of panic and embarrassment. I froze, staring at the stain creeping up the skirt, my heart pounding. The idea of ruining her clothes or looking ridiculous hit me like a sudden jolt. My wife, ever calm, laughed softly from the stove. "Well, that's one way to cool off," she teased, her eyes sparkling with amusement. I felt heat rise to my cheeks, but before I could even apologize, she grabbed a nearby floral skirt, holding it out toward me with a mischievous smile. "Here," she said. "Just wear this. No one's here but us, and it'll be cooler anyway." I hesitated, my mind racing. A skirt? Again? But something in her voice, the playful encouragement, made me realize there was no shame here. Only freedom. Only permission to explore and enjoy this side of myself. I nodded quickly, slipping off the stained skirt and stepping into the new one. The fabric was light, airy, brushing gently against my legs. It felt incredible. I twirled slightly in front of the mirror, feeling the soft sway with each movement. The sunlight streaming through the window caught the floral pattern, highlighting every curve and fold. "You look amazing," she said, walking over to adjust the waistband slightly.
See?
"No need to be embarrassed. It suits you." Her approval sent a shiver of excitement through me. I had been worried about how it would look, but now I felt playful, liberated, even a little mischievous. We continued cooking together, and I couldn't help but notice how different everything felt. The gentle sway of the skirt as I moved, the soft pressure of the bra against my chest, and the light fabric brushing against my thighs, it all heightened my awareness. I laughed at the absurdity of it all, feeling giddy and alive. As I reached for a pan on the counter, I realized just how natural this felt now. My hands moved confidently, my body adjusting to the gentle curves and fabric, and I felt a thrill at the realization that this was becoming second nature. The initial nervousness and fear had melted into comfort, curiosity, and a deep sense of playfulness. At one point, I glanced up and caught my wife watching me, her eyes filled with warmth and amusement. "You're getting better at this," she teased. "Soon, you'll be putting on these outfits without even thinking about it." I laughed, feeling a rush of happiness. The playful banter, the supportive presence, the intimate freedom to explore, it was intoxicating. Cooking, something so mundane, had become an adventure. Every movement, every glance, every touch of fabric against my skin was a small thrill, a private joy that belonged only to us. Later, as we sat down to eat, she reached over and adjusted the skirt one last time, smoothing the fabric over my legs. "You know," she whispered, "I love seeing this side of you. Soft, playful, alive. It suits you." Her words made my heart swell. It wasn't just about the clothing. It wasn't just about skirts or nightgowns or bras. It was about being seen, being accepted, being loved for who I truly was, even in moments of embarrassment, even when mistakes happened. And as I looked down at the soft floral fabric around my legs, the gentle press of the bra beneath my shirt, I realized that these little accidents, these playful mishaps, were part of the journey. They made me feel human, vulnerable, and alive. By the end of the evening, the cooking accident felt like a distant memory. The skirt had dried, my hands had stopped trembling, and I had embraced the playful thrill of discovery. My wife and I curled up on the couch afterward, me in my soft skirt and her in her comfortable pajamas, sharing laughs and quiet intimacy. For the first time, I understood that crossdressing wasn't just an experiment. It was a lifestyle of playful exploration, a path to self-discovery, and a way to deepen the connection between us. And the little accidents, the moments of embarrassment, they only made the experience richer, more intimate, and more real. As I drifted off to sleep that night, skirt folded neatly beside the bed, bra pressed comfortably against my chest, I felt a sense of contentment and anticipation. Tomorrow would bring new experiments, new moments of thrill and discovery. And I couldn't wait to continue this journey, one playful, transformative step at a time. It was a quiet afternoon, the kind where the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sounds of traffic were the only interruptions. I was in the kitchen, wearing a soft floral skirt and a tank top, moving carefully as I prepared lunch. The skirt swayed lightly with each step, the gentle press of the bra beneath my shirt reminding me of the freedom I had discovered. I was humming softly to myself, feeling comfortable, confident even, when there came a sudden, sharp knock at the door. My heart skipped a beat. Visitors weren't unusual, but at this exact moment, panic surged through me. "Quick," I whispered to my wife, my voice tight with anxiety. "Get me some pants." She raised an eyebrow, a small smirk tugging at the corner of her mouth. "Pants," she teased. "Or are we going to hide the new look?" I groaned inwardly, wishing the floor would swallow me whole. But before she could say more, the door swung open. It was her best friend, Kitty. Bright-eyed, cheerful, and completely oblivious to the small costume drama unfolding in our kitchen. My stomach dropped. My face heated instantly. Kitty's gaze fell on me and froze. I could see it in her eyes, that instant recognition, that pause where the world seems to stop for a fraction of a second. I was wearing a skirt, a tank top, and the familiar red bra hugged my chest beneath the thin fabric. I wanted to vanish, curl up somewhere, hide, anything. But my wife, calm and collected, stepped forward. "He's just helping me with lunch," she said casually, covering effortlessly for me. "Wearing one of my old skirts. It's hot today." Kitty's eyes twinkled with amusement, and then she leaned in slightly, whispering conspiratorially, "Actually, it suits you. Prettier than I expected." My cheeks flushed bright red. Prettier? Me? I wanted to sink into the floor, disappear, and yet, oddly, the words stirred something thrilling inside me. My wife laughed softly, reaching over to give my arm a gentle squeeze.
See?
Nothing to be embarrassed about. You're safe here. Safe.
Yes.
But the flutter of nerves, the excitement of being seen, was intoxicating. My hands trembled slightly, aware of the swish of the skirt and the gentle press of the bra against my chest. My heartbeat raced. Kitty, ever the playful one, didn't let the moment pass. You should show me how pretty you really are, she teased, a spark in her eyes. Go on, wear that red bra again. I froze, hesitation clamping down on my spine. The thought of exposing myself like that, of letting another person see this side of me, was terrifying. But I couldn't say no, not to my wife, and certainly not to Kitty's teasing encouragement. I took a deep breath, retreating to the bedroom. My fingers fumbled slightly as I slipped into the red bra, then the skirt. My heart pounded in my chest, every nerve alive with anticipation and fear. My wife handed me Kitty's high heels, a snug size 39. To my surprise, they fit perfectly. The moment I stepped into them, the gentle click on the hardwood floor made me aware of every subtle movement, every sway of my hips, every tiny adjustment I made to maintain balance. I stepped out, hands slightly trembling, and froze for a second. Kitty's eyes widened, her mouth forming a delighted smile. Wow, she breathed. If you were born a woman, you'd break hearts. My face burned, but deep down, a thrill coursed through me. Her words, her admiration, the thrill of being seen, it was intoxicating. I moved slowly, deliberately, swaying slightly, letting the skirt glide around my legs. My chest pressed gently against the bra, and I felt exposed, vulnerable, yet alive in a way I had never imagined. They laughed, took photos, and coaxed me into poses. And with every click of the camera, every playful remark, every glance from the two women, I felt a strange combination of embarrassment and elation. I was being seen, acknowledged, admired, and I loved every second of it, even though my cheeks burned fiercely. After a while, Kitty leaned in, whispering to my wife, "He's beautiful, soft, pretty." I didn't expect this. My wife smiled, brushing a loose strand of hair from my forehead. "I told you," she said softly, her eyes sparkling. "This is who he is. This side of him is wonderful." The afternoon passed in a blur of laughter, playful teasing, and subtle flirtation. I moved from skirt to nightgown, from standing to sitting, exploring the subtle shifts in fabric, the gentle pressure of the bra, and the soft sway of the skirt with every step. My body, once tense and uncertain, began to relax, to flow naturally with the movements, to enjoy the freedom and thrill of being seen. By the time Kitty left, I felt a profound mixture of relief, excitement, and intimacy. I had been caught, exposed. And yet, instead of shame, I felt validation,
Love.
acceptance, and a deep, thrilling awareness of my own identity, of the softer, freer side of myself that had been waiting all along. That evening, as I curled up on the couch in a soft nightgown, my wife beside me, I realized something profound. Being seen, even unexpectedly, didn't diminish me. It amplified the truth I had discovered in my experiments at home. Vulnerability, exploration, and playfulness weren't weaknesses. They were gateways to freedom, intimacy, and joy. I had faced my first surprise guest, my first real exposure, and survived. More than that, I had thrived. And I knew, in my heart, that this was only the beginning of a journey filled with discovery, intimacy, and the thrilling joy of embracing my true self. After the surprise visit from Kitty, our home felt different. The air seemed lighter, charged with a new sense of freedom. I was no longer just exploring my softer side in secret. I had been seen and, more importantly, accepted. The thrill lingered like a warm glow beneath my skin, pushing me toward bolder experimentation. It started one lazy afternoon. I was lounging on the couch in a silky nightgown, the fabric sliding lightly against my legs. My wife sat beside me, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "You know," she said with a mischievous glint, "I think it's time we take this a step further." Play a little game. A game? I asked warily, though a flutter of excitement coursed through me. Yes, she whispered, her eyes sparkling. A role play. You'll be my little wife today. Soft, delicate mind to dress, guide, and tease. My heartbeat quickened. Role play?
Me?
I had experimented with skirts, nightgowns, and bras, but this was new. A full immersion into an identity I had only begun to explore. Okay, I whispered, uncertain, my hands fidgeting with the hem of the nightgown. She smiled, reaching for a stack of clothes she had laid out earlier. First, she said, we need the outfit. She handed me a delicate lace blouse, soft and feminine, and a flowing skirt that swayed almost hypnotically in the sunlight. I hesitated for a moment, feeling the familiar mixture of thrill and vulnerability. But then, as I slid the blouse over my shoulders and tucked it neatly into the skirt, something remarkable happened. I felt right. The fabric clung softly, highlighting curves I had once tried to ignore. The bra beneath added a gentle pressure, a reminder of the delicate identity I was stepping into. Each movement became purposeful, graceful, like a dance I was only beginning to learn. Perfect, she said, smoothing a wrinkle in the blouse. Now, posture. Shoulders back, chin up. Show me your confidence. I straightened, feeling the subtle shift in how I carried myself. There was power in vulnerability, I realized. Strength in softness. I twirled slightly, testing the sway of the skirt, the gentle embrace of the fabric. My body, once awkward and uncertain in feminine clothing, felt alive, expressive, elegant. Now, she said, stepping back, let's add accessories. She placed delicate jewelry around my neck, adjusted the straps of my bra, and even helped me slip into a pair of modest heels. Each adjustment was intimate, tender, and playful. Her hands lingered lightly on my shoulders, guiding me, encouraging me. With every touch, I felt my confidence bloom. You're beautiful, she whispered, her eyes locking with mine. Soft, delicate, perfect. And this is just the beginning. Her words ignited something inside me. The fear, the uncertainty, the tiny voice of doubt, they all melted away, replaced by a rush of exhilaration. I realized that this identity, this playful exploration, wasn't just about clothing. It was about discovering a side of myself I had long ignored, a side that could feel alive, confident, and free. We moved through the apartment like performers, experimenting with gestures, poses, and playful scenarios. I practiced walking in heels, twirling in skirts, and tilting my head just so to convey elegance. She coached me, praised me, and occasionally teased me, each interaction deepening our intimacy and my comfort in this newfound identity. By the evening, we were laughing uncontrollably, caught up in the joy of shared exploration. I had slipped into roles I never imagined, embraced vulnerabilities I once feared, and discovered the thrill of being fully seen and accepted. As night fell, she guided me to the bedroom, helping me change into a silky nightgown for sleep. Remember, she said softly, brushing my hair back, being soft, playful, and feminine doesn't make you any less you. It makes you more honest, more alive, more yourself. I gazed at my reflection in the mirror, the nightgown hugging my form, my chest softly outlined by the bra beneath, heels set aside. I looked different, yes, but I also felt complete. And in that moment, I realized that this journey wasn't about hiding or pretending. It was about embracing every facet of myself, exploring freely, and finding joy in vulnerability and self-expression. That night, curled up next to my wife, I felt a profound sense of contentment. Confidence, once foreign, had taken root. Playfulness, once timid, now thrived. And the path ahead, full of skirts, nightgowns, roleplay, and discovery, felt thrilling, limitless, and entirely mine to explore. The weekend had arrived, bringing with it the promise of fresh air, sunshine, and the subtle thrill of stepping outside. My wife, ever playful and supportive, suggested a short walk to a nearby cafe. At first, my heart lurched at the idea. Public exposure, even minimal, was daunting. But the excitement in her eyes, the teasing smile tugging at her lips, made me curious, adventurous, daring. "Trust me," she said softly, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "You'll feel amazing. Just be yourself, or the version of yourself you love." I nodded, a mix of nerves and anticipation twisting in my stomach. I had dressed carefully, a light, flowing skirt that swayed with each step, a soft blouse that highlighted my curves, and the familiar red bra beneath, pressing gently against my chest. My hair fell softly around my shoulders, styled but loose, framing my face in a way I hadn't dared attempt before. The moment I stepped out, the cool breeze kissed my skin, teasing and thrilling in equal measure. Each step felt deliberate, purposeful, alive. My wife walked beside me, her hand occasionally brushing against mine, reassuring, playful, grounding. The cafe wasn't crowded, but the few patrons present gave me that unmistakable tingle, the awareness of being seen, observed, and perhaps admired. We found a small table outside, bathed in sunlight, and I settled into the seat with a mixture of anticipation and curiosity. As we waited for our drinks, a young woman at a nearby table glanced up. Her eyes met mine, and I felt a strange flutter, a heartbeat out of sync, a surge of awareness. She smiled, briefly, then spoke softly. "Excuse me," she said, her voice warm and genuine. "I just wanted to say, you look really beautiful." My cheeks flared crimson. "Beautiful?"
Me?
I felt frozen for a second, a mixture of shock, embarrassment, and a thrilling rush coursing through me. My wife's hand squeezed mine lightly, her eyes twinkling with encouragement. You think so?" I stammered, unable to find the right words. "Absolutely," the woman said, smiling. "The skirt, the blouse, everything. You carry yourself so well. You're graceful." I swallowed hard, my chest fluttering against the bra beneath my blouse. The sensation was electric. This wasn't just clothing or costume, it was recognition, admiration, validation. For the first time, I truly saw myself reflected through someone else's eyes. My wife leaned in, whispering, "See? I told you. You're amazing." The woman's smile lingered as she returned to her own conversation, but the impact of her words stayed with me. I felt a profound shift, an awakening of confidence that I hadn't experienced before. The fear, the hesitation, the lingering doubt, they all melted away under the warmth of acknowledgement and genuine compliment. As we walked home, each step became a dance of awareness. I noticed the sway of the skirt, the gentle rise and fall of my chest, the subtle elegance in my movements. Every glance from passers-by, every stray smile, reinforced the realization. I looked beautiful. I was seen. And I loved it. That evening, back at home, I replayed the experience in my mind. The thrill of being complimented, of being admired for a version of myself I had only recently begun to explore. It was intoxicating. I looked in the mirror, running my hands lightly over the soft fabric of the blouse and skirt, and smiled. It wasn't just about clothing. It wasn't just about skirts, bras, or nightgowns. It was about identity, freedom, and authenticity. I had discovered a side of myself that was confident, graceful, and beautiful, and now, others could see it too. My wife joined me, placing a gentle hand on my shoulder. "You see what I see now?" she asked softly. "Yes," I whispered, my voice trembling with excitement and awe. I do. I really do." She smiled, leaning in to kiss my cheek. "This is just the beginning. There's so much more you'll discover about yourself. And I'll be here every step of the way." That night, as I slipped into a silky nightgown and settled into bed, I felt a profound sense of completeness. The outside world hadn't been intimidating, it had been liberating. Compliments, admiration, acknowledgement, they had unlocked something inside me. I realized, fully, that crossdressing wasn't just a private indulgence or a playful experiment. It was a path to understanding, embracing, and celebrating every part of myself. And the validation from someone outside my home, unexpected, genuine, had ignited a fire of confidence that would continue to grow, carrying me forward on a journey of self-discovery, intimacy, and unbridled joy. The next morning, sunlight filtered gently through our bedroom curtains, casting a soft glow on the familiar furniture. I stretched lazily, still in the silky nightgown from the night before. The fabric clung softly to my body, sliding over my skin like a whisper. My chest rose and fell under the bra beneath, a comforting and thrilling reminder of the side of myself I had come to cherish. My wife stirred beside me, her hand brushing against my arm. "Good morning, little wife," she murmured, a playful smile tugging at her lips. "Sleep well?" I nodded, feeling a warmth spread through me. "Yes, better than I ever imagined," I admitted softly.
The words felt intimate, honest.
She stretched beside me, her fingers tracing light patterns over my shoulder, down my arm, and across my chest. "You know," she whispered, "I love waking up to this. Do you like this? Soft, alive, beautiful." Her words sent a shiver down my spine. It wasn't just the compliment, it was the acceptance, the intimacy, the way she truly saw me. Every touch, every glance, every whisper deepened the bond we shared. We lingered in bed for a while, her hand brushing over the soft curve of my chest, my fingers tracing the delicate fabric of the nightgown. Each movement felt intentional, intimate, a silent conversation of trust, love, and playful exploration. "Do you want to try something?" she asked suddenly, eyes sparkling with mischief. I tilted my head, curiosity piqued. "What?" She pulled a drawer open, revealing a small collection of her older skirts and tops. "Pick anything you like. Today we're making this a lifestyle, not just a game. You can choose, mix, match, wear whatever makes you feel you." I felt the thrill, a surge of empowerment, freedom, and excitement. For the first time, I realized this wasn't just about experimentation, it was about ownership, choice, and self-expression. I chose a soft, lavender skirt and a white lace blouse. The fabric felt luxurious against my skin as I slid it on, the bra beneath shaping my chest gently. Each movement, each adjustment, was a meditation in itself, an acknowledgement of this newfound identity and the joy it brought. My wife watched, eyes shining. "Beautiful," she whispered, stepping closer to adjust the blouse slightly. "Every detail matters, and you matter." We spent the morning together, laughing, experimenting, and exploring the possibilities of our shared lifestyle. I tried on different combinations of skirts, blouses, and nightgowns, each outfit bringing a unique thrill, a new understanding of my body, and a deeper connection to my wife. At one point, she handed me a pair of delicate heels. "Let's practice walking," she suggested. "Feel the sway, the balance, the elegance." I slipped them on, hesitating for a moment. The first few steps were awkward, unsteady, but with her gentle guidance, her hands lightly brushing against mine, I began to move naturally. The sway of my hips, the subtle lift of my chest, the graceful turn of my shoulders, it all felt mesmerizing. "You're perfect," she whispered, her fingers trailing along my arm. Soft, graceful, alive. By the afternoon, skirts and nightgowns had become more than clothing. They were extensions of my identity, tools of expression, and symbols of intimacy. I felt more confident, more beautiful, more myself than I ever had before. That evening, as we curled up on the couch together, I realized something profound. Crossdressing wasn't just about clothing, experimentation, or playful teasing. It was a bridge. A bridge to intimacy, trust, self-discovery, and love. Every skirt, every nightgown, every gentle touch was a thread weaving us closer together, creating a tapestry of shared joy and acceptance. "Do you feel different?" my wife asked softly, her hand resting on my shoulder. I nodded, smiling. "Yes, but in the best way. I feel free,
Seen.
alive." She leaned in, kissing my forehead. "That's exactly what I hoped for. You don't have to hide anything from me. You never will." And in that embrace, surrounded by the soft fabrics, gentle touches, and the warmth of love, I knew this journey was far from over. Crossdressing had become part of my life, my identity, and my relationship, a source of joy, intimacy, and self-expression that I would cherish forever. I wasn't just my wife's husband. I was her confidant, her partner, her little wife. I was alive, soft, beautiful, and fully, unapologetically myself. The apartment was quiet that evening, bathed in the soft golden light of the setting sun. I sat in front of the mirror, adjusting the delicate lace of my blouse and the soft skirt I had chosen for the day. My reflection looked different, and yet it felt unmistakably like me. There was a softness in my features, a gentle curve to my body, and a glow in my eyes that hadn't been there before. For years, I had hidden parts of myself, convinced that my curiosity, my desire for softness and beauty, was something to be ashamed of. But now, as I looked at the person in the mirror, fully embraced, fully seen, I realized how far I had come. This wasn't a costume or a game. It was my identity, my expression, my truth. My wife entered the room quietly, placing a gentle hand on my shoulder. "You look incredible," she said softly, her eyes warm and admiring. "Every day, I see more of you, and I love all of it." I smiled, feeling a swell of emotion that was almost overwhelming. I never thought I could feel this complete," I admitted, my voice soft. "I was nervous at first, unsure, embarrassed, but now I feel alive."
Scene.
Free. She cupped my face gently, thumbs brushing my cheeks. "That's exactly it," she whispered. "You're not less of a man or anything else. You're more honest, more beautiful, more yourself. And that's what matters." We spent the evening together, exploring the intimacy that had grown from shared experimentation. Skirts, nightgowns, delicate bras, they were more than clothing. They were symbols of trust, love, and playful exploration. Every movement, every touch, every glance reinforced our bond and the joy of being unapologetically ourselves. As I curled up beside her, feeling the soft fabrics against my skin, the gentle press of the bra beneath my blouse, and the warmth of her presence, I reflected on the journey. The initial curiosity, the nervous first moments, the accidental discoveries, the surprise visitors, the public compliments, the playful role-play, it had all led me here. Here I was free. Here I was loved. Here I was wholly, authentically me. My wife whispered, "Do you remember when this all started? That first bra, that first skirt?" I laughed softly, remembering the nervous thrill, the hesitation, and the unexpected excitement. "Yes," I said, smiling. "I never imagined it would feel like this, so natural, so freeing, so joyful." She kissed my forehead, holding me close. "It's beautiful to watch you embrace yourself. And it's just the beginning. There's so much more we can explore together. More skirts, more nightgowns, more playful moments, more love." I closed my eyes, savoring the warmth, the intimacy, and the sense of complete acceptance. Crossdressing hadn't diminished me. It had revealed me. It had allowed me to express a side of myself that was soft, playful, beautiful, and deeply human. And as I drifted off to sleep, nestled against the woman who had encouraged, supported, and loved every facet of me, I knew one truth with unwavering clarity. I was free. I was loved. I was myself. No hesitation. No shame. Just joy. Just identity. Just life, fully, unapologetically, beautifully mine.